Start streaming, more like start dreaming, because streaming is a dream to me. Yes, that's right. I'm here and I'm ready to, I'm just here to not really change the status quo. I came here to just keep everything the same. I'm here for nothing. I'm just here to speak to you. So I guess I'm here for that. So that's something. It depends on how you define something. Most people when they hear this, I think their first thought is like, is this something? Or is it just absolutely nothing? And as it turns out, it's really just a matter of perspective. For example, if you're a dog or a cat or something, I think this could be like very soothing. Like, this is really, that's why, I try to like keep it on the topic of like, things that pets like kibbles or coughing up hairballs. You'll notice I talk about that a lot. These are just relatable things that pets want to hear. They're like, dude, I shit in a box too. I mean, they don't say that, but they do think it. They bark it. They bark it to themselves. Like human beings like talk to themselves under their breath sometimes. I think it'd be funny if, I guess cats do that. I mean, you've probably seen a cat walking around that's just like meow, 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 with nobody around. It's just like, who you talking to, dude? It's like, what do you have to talk to yourself about? How complex is your mind that you have neuroses? Your biggest problem is that your claws get stuck in the carpet all the time. Is that what you're so upset about? Sounds horrible. So yeah, that was a new feature, kitty corner. I can't make it about all pets. Like, I can't make it about snakes. I don't know anything about snakes. I don't see snakes. I don't run into snakes on a regular basis, so I don't have snakes on the brain. I guess that's one of those things where when you're younger, you think that's going to be a much bigger problem later in life. But if you play your cards right, you'll never have to deal with like a really bad snake. Yeah. So that wasn't a feature, because like I said, I don't have anything to say about snakes, and I just wanted to prove that. Think about other things like, actually, there isn't anything else going on, because I'll keep talking about snakes. Does a snake, does it poop? In terms of digestion, I feel as if the snake body was just made for turds. So in the end, where does it all... This is according to the first result on Google. Doesn't matter what it is. Once the meal is reduced to poop, the snake can get rid of it through an anal opening or cloaca, which is Latin for sewer. Oh, so the old cloaca. Okay, that classic hole. That one-stop shop where it all gets done. I don't understand why we didn't get one of those. We're supposed to be so evolved. Obviously, a cloaca is the easiest way to do it. So what are we missing? What did we miss? Where did we miss the boat on cloacas? We missed our evolutionary window. Yeah, this Reddit comment sums it up perfectly. A snake is basically just a really long, bendy ribcage with a head and a teensy little tail, and the butt is just in front of the tail on the underside of the snake. As with a lot of reptiles, a snake's cloaca, basically the reptile bird butthole, is easily overlooked because when it's not in use, it's completely hidden under the scales, but it's there, and it works like such things usually tend to work. So it also has a protective scale flap to cover it when it's not needed. It's like your butt's a cabinet. The snake can be like, I'm not opening my flap for this. This isn't gonna be one of those. We did a lot wrong evolutionarily. We should have made better choices. That's how it works, right? It's just whatever you want. You just have to believe in yourself. You'll grow another limb if you really believe that you will have a limb. It's possible. No one's ever been able to do it, but it's possible. If you could have another limb, where would you put it? I think definitely a hand right on the belly. A hand that sticks out where you're like, you could get it as like an add-on, like in your belly button. You can get like a pop socket on there, or you can get like a hand, and the hand is just like holding a third item all the time. That's what it's for. So what you can do is you can walk around, eat meals, have your little tray on that hand's got it. Life is easy from here on out, because you can hold 3 things at once. Also, can you imagine the Renaissance in the art of juggling? A much more serious answer would be wings, I guess. I think everybody would want wings. Yeah, bird is ideal, because bird is you get the cloaca and you get the wings. But your bones ain't filled with shit. So that is downside. Hollow bones. I guess I would just be a capybara. The only problem is, though, I'd have to acknowledge the fact that I am a rat. I don't think it's true that capybaras are rats, but I don't think it's nice to say to them. I don't think, don't talk about them like that. I'll accept being a rat if it means I get pets. I guess a dog gets pets too. It'd probably be better to be a dog overall. Plus, I could, if I were a dog, I would unlock new smells, and they would all be good to me. Dogs really enjoy the variety of smells. They don't really care what the smell is. I'm sure somebody has a dog that, winced when you, cut onions or something, and you'd be like, well, actually, some dogs don't like certain smells. Maybe it was just smelling you, and it doesn't like the stink of your bad attitude. So, all kinds of great things going on in the world. As long as if you're not watching the news, it's fine. If you know what's going on, it's not going well. But if you don't know what's going on, things are really going fantastic. It could be worse, I found these upscaled historical footage of 1930s Berlin, where everything's just hunky-dory. You have Hitler just walking around. Everyone's like, hey, that's Hitler, right? The guy who's never gonna do anything wrong ever. Is that him? It felt very real to me, that particular video, for some reason. It just looked like it could have happened anywhere, anytime. It just felt very real, and it was also very terrifying and really eerie to watch. Nobody at that time could really have perceived the consequences of what was going to happen. Everyone was just so ignorant of what they were doing. Beyond that was the fact that there were a certain number of people who completely bought into it. And so somehow something in him spoke to people, which is pretty fucking crazy. And then you look at, what has happened in the world today, and you're like, oh, I guess it's actually not that crazy that this could happen. And so naturally that led me to think about, is it possible that Hitler had some kind of brain injury? And this was related to the Lewiston mass shooter, Robert Card, who this week they found out that he had CTE from working in a live grenade range. So then that got me thinking about, well, did Hitler have something? And so I looked it up. Sure enough, he's been diagnosed remotely with every possible syndrome you can imagine. Another side of that is that, you can criticize armchair diagnoses like that, but most diagnoses are based on patterns of maladaptive behavior. So, if somebody's autistic, you don't, look at a scan of their brain and be like, that's where the autism is. You just kind of have to infer it based on how they behave. And so to the extent you could diagnose someone with autism based on the fact that, they can't make eye contact, you should be able to diagnose a guy who did genocide with something, because that seems pretty maladaptive to me. So can't you just say, by definition, this guy was mentally ill, because he killed millions of people? No, he's not mentally ill. But if you have hyperfixations and are sensitive to certain stimuli, you have to go to a special school. I wonder if maybe there's some unconscious resistance to the idea that Hitler had something wrong with his brain, because it would feel like we're absolving him of responsibility, even though he's been dead forever. Because then by proxy, we would kind of have to say, well, if that's how we diagnose mental illness, then everyone's mentally ill, because everybody exhibits maladaptive behaviors. Even if they don't express them, like, it could be something going on internally that's maladaptive. So then it just kind of makes it seem like, well, it's just your brain just decides who you are and you don't really have free will. So, fuck it. Nobody can ever do anything wrong. But there must be a part of us that doesn't believe that. I just crammed in so many topics that I fucking know absolutely nothing about. But I'm pretty sure it went fine. I'm pretty sure it went really well. And I'm never gonna look at anything anybody says about this. So yeah, you knew this part was coming. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, and it is my honor to introduce to you the host of Time Check. His name is it's Slurp Von Lipstick. That's, if you think you misheard that, you didn't mishear it. You heard it correctly. He does have to come out here, he has to look at a clock, and he has to say, the time is whatever PM. It makes it look easy, because it is. It's the easiest possible job. So yeah, please welcome Slurp Von Lipstick. Well, look who's here. It's me, Slurp Von Lipstick, knocking at the door of your life to tell you what time it is. The current time is 10:46 p.m. I did it too early. I did it way too early that time. Why did I do it so early? Oh fuck, what am I gonna do for the rest of the segment? I usually do it in the middle. I can't do it twice. It's not in my contract. It says it there in the fine print. It says 1 time check per time check. That's why it's not called time checks. I'll just have to figure out some way to fill the time. So have you guys seen Game of Thrones? What if I just said I lied that was the time? It was just a joke. And then when I read the time and it's just a few minutes after the time that I said, that would just be a coincidence. Does everybody agree to this? Is everyone agreeing to pretend that I'm a liar? I just want to let everyone know also that my 7 identical young boys mentioned in the previous episode, who all dug holes in the ground and then disappeared. It's a whole thing. You're gonna have to go. It is literally, it really is a whole thing. You're gonna have to go back to the previous episode to fully understand, or don't. Like, if you don't give a shit, I don't either. You know? If you're like, I can't do that, I have to go, like, talk to chicks or something, or I have to go ride a motorcycle. Yeah, I understand that. I understand, like, you have a busy life, you can't listen to more than one podcast episode ever. But if you ever get a chance, you can sign up for the premium feed. I also send you my weekly newsletter, where I tell you what's been going on in the life of Slurp Von Lipstick. You'll find all the sordid details in my emails to you. I'll also do a little time check in the email. So I'll say, hey, I'm writing this at, 1:03 p.m. I get that, emails these days with the kind of technology they have, they're time stamped. But it's personal. When I put it, it's coming from me. It's like it's like if Oprah sent you an email and she said, hey, just so you know, it's 2:30. You think, thank you, Oprah. Why don't you thank me? Why don't you think of me like you think of Oprah? We're exactly the same. I also write books. I also have a lifestyle brand. I guess my knowledge about Oprah is very limited, because that's about all I got on the Oprah dossier. Man, it's funny how you can just not know anything about certain things. You're like, I feel like I have a relatively good idea of what's going on in the world. And then someone comes up to you and they're like, what's your opinion on unpasteurized milk? You're like, it's probably bad. It's probably a really boring explanation, so I don't care. You know, who actually drinks milk also? The only time I drink milk is, you know, I'll have like a cookie or brownie. And I'm thinking, well, like a nice swig of milk would really do it. I don't know why that is. So yeah, all kinds of content prepared for you. As you can tell, this one is just like, it's like a roller coaster. It feels like a roller coaster made by Hitler. Hitler's roller coaster. But yeah, I did find all my kids. They were they dug those holes. Turns out they did go in them, but this time they merged and they became one sun. Like one large sun that's 7 times the size of any of them. Its brain got bigger too, so it basically became a full-grown adult. And it turned to me and it said, "I dwarf you intellectually. You're nothing to me." I thought that was rude. And so it just walked off. It found a job, it got itself an apartment, now it's living on its own. I call it because it's not really anybody anymore. All my sons combined to become not my son. How does that make any sense? What kind of world is this? I just gotta focus on what time it is. I gotta focus on clocks. I'll tell you what time it is, but I'm not gonna make it easy for you. You're gonna have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands. You're gonna have to pull it out of my gut, stick your hands down my throat and pull it right out of my lower intestine. I'm just kidding, I'll just tell it to you. I'm fine with saying it. And so I'll do the real time check because the other one was obviously fake. It's now 11:06 p.m. That's the real time. So that was me, Slurp Von Lipstick, a liar, a person who lied to you. We all agree that I lied. That's all that needs to be said. Okay, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Check out my stand-up special. I'm standing up, and it's special. Now I'm leaving. The master ad work. Give it up for Slurp Von Lipstick. He really just knocked it out of the park this time. Yeah, I'm just saying that until he walks out the door, and then I'll say how I feel. Okay, you closed the door. Okay, it sucked. So, what else has happened? So, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on. Especially in my life. For example, I purchased new Bluetooth headphones that are in the mail. So these headphones are bigger, they're more noise canceling, and they're more Bluetooth. That's right, you thought something couldn't be degrees of Bluetooth? This is even more Bluetooth than anything you've ever used that's Bluetooth. This shit is practically a different color tooth at this point. So I don't know, I mean, I use Bluetooth headphones quite a bit, so I figured it's a logical investment for me to make. And now I don't make stupidly small amounts of money. Just given the job it is and given how long I've been there, it was getting to a point where it was like not even frustrating. It's like, this is funny. This is silly. But now I make, enough to just not have to be stressed out about money. I mean, just enough. So that's been fine. Fuck you. I just felt like I had to balance that. Too much positivity. I had to inject that in there. I don't know why I feel like I have to do that. Why can't I just say the good thing and just leave it at that? I'm like a dog. I just like the variety. I like the balance. I want to smell everything. It's just, I just like the variety of smells, the cornucopia of stink. Because that sounds like it would be like a heavy metal album or something. The cornucopia of stink. That would be fucking badass. Okay, everybody, please sit down in your pews. Mass has begun. Sit down. Okay. The opening hymn has been completed. Everybody open your book to the first page. What does that say? It says the Bible. Pretty good, right? Can't beat it. As far as titles go, because there's no other like type of Bible. There's no other Bible. There's just one Bible. So where did that word come from? Like someone made the Bible and someone pointed to it and they're like, oh, cool book. And they're like, it's not a book. Oh, what is it? It's a Bible. And you say it's a book, but it's just more important than all the other ones because we decided it's true. Like they could have called it anything. They could have called it like Push, a novel by Sapphire. So yeah, everything else is just take a look around you. Take a look at your surroundings. Is anything wrong? If there's anything wrong, then stop listening because this doesn't apply to you. This only applies to people who have no problems and have perfect lives. If you have any problems in your life, you're not ready to hear this. They're going to get in the way of you appreciating the experience of the podcast. So like the ideal like listening scenario is that you're on like some kind of like sedative or something or like Dilaudid, and then you'll really be able to take it all in. My whole audience is people in hospice. This is also just crazy 1930s Germany. Guess what you're spending 90% of your time doing? You're going to a march, and you're just watching a bunch of guys with flags walk around. How fucking boring is this? What a boring existence. If we just exterminate all the Jews, we can do this more. We can just have more flags. We can steal all their flags and have bigger marches. If we don't do a Holocaust, how are we going to keep all of these black boots so shiny? It just kind of grosses you out to see that. And then you're like, the first world countries all have some form of like military propaganda. So I don't know, I guess like maybe it's like a sliding scale where you can't have really any structure in society if people don't fear not having structure. So in that sense, society at like a very low burn level has to kind of be run on fear in some sense. And so the mechanism that prevents you from living an unstructured life is the idea of like living in a nation with a government. And so there's like a foundation of fear there, but if you sneak in through that same mechanism a little bit more fear, in other words, by preying on people's basic like survival instincts, then you can get them to invest a lot of power in the state if the state promises to ameliorate the current conditions or make them better. But obviously that's manipulated a lot. It just tends to happen from time to time. Thank God it's not happening now. I'm so glad we're done with that. I'm so glad that's over. Now everybody's normal. I can't believe I didn't even get like 50 episodes in without talking about Hitler. I guess I have to like read a book about like Hitler's rise to power and exactly how it worked. Because the fact that he was, to the extent that like he was a populist, it makes me think like, I don't really know anything about like human beings, I guess. I guess I'm confused. Because you think of that as being a relatively modern era in which that happened, where you'd kind of think like stuff like that was like put in the past. So yeah, I guess I don't really know. The more I know about the world, the more I don't think I understand the world at all. Nowadays, you gotta ask yourself if Hitler came to your door and was like, hey, you should vote for me. We'll bring back traditional values. I'll fix the whole economy. If that's the selling point, then yeah, sure. Why not? Like, if I'm not paying attention, I'll just be like, that sounds good to me, I'll just vote for that. So, I guess that's how it happens. I don't know. Maybe if they had Google, you could be like, what's this Hitler guy really all about, huh? I guess you could read his book. Wow, I gotta talk about something other than genocide on this. But there is a weird connection, I feel like, watching the old colorized videos. Where for like split seconds at a time I can convince myself like this was actually real. Like it obviously just seems much more remote when you read about it. It's a completely different thing to see like real people and see an entire hall full of people where you can just think they've all been dead for so fucking long. It's funny. Like, that's when a death stops becoming sad. It's like when enough generations have passed on that where nobody alive actually was alive on the earth at the same time as them. Like, it's not sad to think about Abraham Lincoln dying. You don't pour one out for old Abe. You're just like, yeah, there's a bunch of shit that happened, all that's in the ground now. But that doesn't mean the same patterns don't repeat themselves based on what those old dead assholes did. But if you think of the world as this clockwork mechanism, then you also see it as having been set by, like, the people who came before, and that they just kind of put the wheels in motion for you to jump on or not jump on. So it's always easier to climb on than to not get on. Why do I just keep saying things that are obvious? I guess I never really thought of it in that specific way. So it kind of makes sense now. So I figured it out. You didn't figure it. You didn't help me at all. I completely solved the problem of evil. I completely solved how to prevent a Hitler from coming around again. Because I just want to make this very clear. I'm anti-Hitler. Not a fan. Among other things, just the fucking flags. Enough with the flags. What a horrible symbol that the swastika was also. In the context of being a symbol for our nation. Hey, this represents how we feel inside. We feel like shapes. We feel like these lines. What the fuck does that mean? Get it together, Hitler. But you could also say that, you know, flags are also kind of silly. It's like, what do you look at some shapes and colors and you get emotional? What are you, a toddler? What else is up? What is going on? I have to actually, you know, I was kind of curious to see, just because I gotta get somewhere. I gotta get somewhere after this, even though it's almost midnight. I gotta hit the highways, and I want to check in on what the traffic situation is out there on the highway. And we got our eye in the sky. Chuck Charles is here for us. He's here for you. He's here for your family to keep you safe from traffic. Because traffic could kill you, it could hurt you. Chuck Charles, how's it looking out there on the highway?
Yeah, hey, once again, yeah, I'm really happy to, like, have a job, make some money, but I don't really, there's no traffic, it's nighttime, and there's no car, plus even if there was, I want to be able to see it.
Okay, have you heard of something called headlights? Have you heard of something called taillights? You'd be able to see those, you'd be able to see traffic quite clearly, Chuck Charles.
Yeah, I'm blind, dude.
What? I didn't know you were blind.
Yeah, man, I told you when we first met, I said I'm a blind man.
Oh, I thought you were, like, being poetic. You were saying, like, you're kind of like an ignorant person, like you're blind to, like, reality or something like that. I didn't know you meant, like, physically.
Why would I say that to you in a job interview?
I just thought you were being honest, and I respected that. That's why I hired you to be the traffic guy.
That's really strange. Well, you know what? There's no traffic anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, how do you know that?
Well, I have other ways of knowing if there's traffic.
What are the other ways?
Well, a psychic connection with traffic. When there's a lot of traffic nearby, I can't sleep, I sweat, and I get tremors sometimes. It's sort of like a Harry Potter with the scar and the Voldemort situation.
Okay, so you have some kind of psychic connection with traffic, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Like, if I put, like, an object near you, would you know about it psychically?
Only if it's a car.
Okay, because I have a lot of stuff in my house and I don't want to pay for, like, storage. You told me you had a pretty big house, so I figured if you're never gonna see it anyway, I could just move some boxes in there.
Are you exploiting me for my disability?
In a way, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, I guess that is what I'm doing.
First you kill me in a helicopter, then you kill me in a helicopter again. And then you insult me in this way, this cruel way, this sick way.
Oh yeah, I forgot you died in a helicopter in the last one. Are you okay, by the way?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I mean, it's happened before, so you got back on your feet. You're a fighter. That's what I like about you. I would say my top 2 favorite things about you is number 1, you have psychic powers, and number 2, you're a fighter. You'd be very good at Mortal Kombat. You could like explode a guy's head or something.
Okay, well, I thought you wanted me to just check the traffic.
Yeah, well, if the highway's clear, I'm just gonna head on out of here and get to my night dentist appointment. I got hooked up with one of these night dentists, so I'm gonna go have a night dentist appointment.
Alright, I gotta go. I'm tired, man. I'm going to sleep.
You were going to sleep in the helicopter?
Yeah, I'm so used to being in the helicopter now, because I never know when you're gonna, like, call me. So I'm always in a helicopter.
How do you refuel?
We're using AC-130.
That would explain why the budget has been so high this year. Okay, well, good night, Chuck Charles. Sleeping in his helicopter. If you look up in the night sky and you see a bright shining light up there, that might be Chuck Charles snoozing away. So, look, that's all I get. That's all I got. That's all I can do. If you enjoyed this, you might also enjoy just hitting an object with a wooden spoon and laughing like a dumbass. Alright, that's enough out of me.